Hey guys, here we are again, me and my training partner Anis. Guys, on this DVD my goal is to show my favorite submissions. So I'm gonna try to show here the concepts that I use to find the submission, and not only how I do the submissions but how I approach them as well. And when you talk about submissions, I see like two types of submissions. There is one type of submission that is that one that you get to control your opponent, and little by little you start opening him up, and then you go for a submission, and then submission is there. And the other type of submission is that one that's little bit more explosive. So for example, you are in the guard and then you hit on omoplata, or the guy shoot on your leg and you hit on guillotine. So it's that type of submission that you don't need to have a controlling position to hit it. So my favorite ones, the ones I really like to work, are the one that first I control my opponent, I put him on a bad spot, and then he tried to escape, he opened up something, and I take advantage, and I get there. Many times the explosive one, it's a little harder, because maybe the match is draw, or something like that, and then your opponent doesn't want to tap. So I used to work buff. For example, I love omoplata, and I see many people doing guillotines, and I think it's very good. But I really like the one that I get to control my opponent. For example, I got a side control, then my opponent get a little frustrated, and then he open up something, I take advantage, and I will go for the submission. This year was very special for me, because in the Worlds, I did 7 or 8 matches, and I just didn't tap one opponent. So I got submissions on all matches, and I just didn't get a submission on the finals of my division. So I'm really excited to show here everything I do, and how are my concepts to approach the submission. That's the goal of Jiu-Jitsu. So let's start. Okay guys, so guys, let's start here. Let's start on the subject that is the place that I hit most of my submissions. That is the side control. I really like the side control, because I believe that the side control, it's one great position to work on the submissions, because it's the type of the position that you just made your opponent get very frustrated. Most of the times you get a side control is because you passed someone's guard. And most of the times you pass someone's guard, that's the time that the guy he kind of gives up a little bit. You just got a side control, you got there, you passed his guard, probably he was fighting really hard to do not let you pass his guard, and you did. So probably this is the time that he's gonna get a little bit unmotivated, and that's the time you should hit all the submissions. So when I get the side control, I always like to try first the submissions that I have nothing to lose. So I don't like, for example, to get here in the side control, my opponent's closing, then I try to put a knee on belly, try one arm bar, and then ends up on border, and I have to restart everything. So most of the times I get the side control, I want to work first the submissions that I have nothing to lose. Even if I miss it, I still in the side control. So the first one you're gonna see here, it's one of my favorites, and I used this one this year, 2015, in the finals of the open class of Pan Ams. And as I was talking before, even if I miss the situation, I'm gonna still or on the side control or in the north-south. So that's why it's one of my favorites. So what you're gonna do is, let's imagine fighting against Anis, I passed his guard, and even having his guard passed, he did the right thing. He closed himself, he closed his both elbows, and he did the right defense here. So look, I just got inside control, I just passed his guard, and he closed himself and ends up on this position. Guys, what I'm gonna do is, first thing, I'm gonna make sure it's established really well, and now I'm gonna open up my gi. So I'm gonna open my gi and control the lowest part of my lapel, right? I want to control the lowest part of my lapel because I don't want to show him that I have the lapel on my hands. Now I'm going to slide it underneath his arm. So look, even he being closer here, I'm going to be able to pass my hand under, look. Once I did that, I'm gonna give this lapel to my other hand, right? Now I'm gonna make sure to place it like very close to his neck, right? Once I did that, my hand is gonna go all the way down to his hip on the opposite side. Now I'm gonna start driving to north-south, drive, drive, drive. Once I got on this point, I'm gonna move my head to the other side. In the same time that I move my head to the other side, I'm gonna lift my leg and he's gonna tap. Look, so I'm here, gonna lift my leg, move my head to the other side, and I'm gonna get a choke. So look, I was in side control, right? I made sure to get the best adjust here. I'm gonna open up my gi and control the lowest part of the lapel. Now I'm gonna slide it underneath his arm, give to my other hand. Once I did that, I'm gonna make sure to place it very close to his neck. Now my hand goes to his hip. I'm gonna drive, drive, drive until I get to this point. On this point, I'm gonna lift my leg and move my head all the way down to the other side. So, and I'm gonna get a choke. Guys, when I talk that I really like this choke because even if I miss, I can still there. If at some point he control his lapel, control my lapel, sorry. He controls my lapel, I'm not getting to choke him. I can just give up the choke and I still here, look. So I still having the control. So from here, I can still attacking him on side control. Right? So one more time, look. I'm on his side control. I open up my gi. I'm gonna control the lowest part of the lapel. I don't want to show him my gi. So just this part. And now I'm gonna slide my hand underneath his arm. I did. I'm gonna control it and I'm gonna place it very close to his neck. Once I did that, my hand goes to his hip. I'm gonna drive, drive, and now I'm gonna lift my leg, move my head to the other side, and he's gonna tap. So guys, many times when we hit that position, what happens is, this is the type of choke that's a lapel choke. So it's not like my buff wrist on his neck pushing. So many times the guy resists a little bit. So when he resists, you have like a quick variation here that I can get it even tighter. So that's what we're gonna work right now. You're gonna do the same position, but you're gonna use one variation that's gonna make the choke much tighter. So look, let's imagine here against the knees again. I'm gonna work on the same thing. I'm gonna open his gi, control the lowest part of his lapel, slide it underneath his arm, give to my other hand. I did. Now, once again, I'm gonna make sure to place it very close to his neck, right? Now, I'm gonna place my hand on his hip. I'm gonna drive, drive, drive. Guys, now when I got here, look, I did this, I did everything. He was not tapping, right? I was pushing, pushing, pushing. He was not tapping. So what I'm gonna do is, my forehead, I'm gonna place on the mat. So I'm gonna post my forehead on the mat. So look, I'm here. I'm gonna place my forehead on the mat. Now I'm gonna stay on toes with my butt feet, like this. And now my left hand is gonna meet my right hand. And now I'm gonna pull the lapel with my both hands, look. And I'm gonna get the choke even tighter, right? So let's change the angle here, just make sure you guys get to see like my forehead going to the mat. So look, it's gonna be a little hard for you guys to see, but at least you guys can see my forehead. So look, here, I'm gonna drive, drive. So look, once I got on this point, I'm gonna make sure to really place my forehead on the mat. Look, now I stay on toes, I place my both hands there, and I pull. So let's come back to the first angle again. So I'm on this situation. I'm gonna get the lapel, I'm gonna slide underneath the arm, control it. Once I control it, hand goes to his hip. Now I'm gonna drive, drive, and drive. Once I got here, the first position would be just like this, right? But for some reason he was not tapping. Maybe he got the lapel, maybe his neck is just like very strong. So what I'm gonna do, my forehead goes to the mat and I'm gonna post it. Now I'm gonna stay on toes, both hands go there, and I'm gonna use my both hands support until he taps. This was exactly what happened in this year on my open class finals in the Pan Ams. I hit it, my opponent was not tapping, then I used both hands and I pulled even harder, and then I got a choke. So I really like this choke a lot because it's very efficient, and as we just talked before, even if I miss it, I still in the north-south, I still in side control, so I feel that I can try that as much times as I need, and I have no risk to lose the position. I think it's really important when you get the side control to give a lot of value for that, because it's not easy to pass someone's guard. So once you pass, you really have to take advantage of that situation and try to stay there as much as possible. Guys, now we're gonna do the third variation here about the scarf choke. This is the case that I hit the scarf choke. I tried the first, he didn't tap. I tried the second, go with my both hands, he didn't tap. So that's the time that I'm gonna try my last chance. So look, I'm here again, right? I open up my gi. I pass it. I got the lowest part again, right? I'm gonna pass it underneath his arm, and I'm gonna control. Now I'm gonna place it very close to his neck, right? As we just did before. Now I'm gonna control his hip. I'm gonna drive, drive, drive. Guys, I tried the first one, he didn't tap. I tried placing like my head here, he didn't tap. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change my base. And I'm gonna get a choke. So I'm gonna completely change my base all the way down to the other side. So let's see again. So look, I got his side control, right? I got my gi open here. I control the lowest part of my lapel. I slide it underneath his arm. Give to the other hand. Once I got here, I'm gonna place my hand on his hip, exactly as we did before. Now I'm gonna drive, drive, drive. I tried the first one, he didn't tap. I tried the second one, he still didn't tap. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep the control here of the lapel, exactly as we are doing. I'm gonna post my forehead on the mat, and now I'm gonna switch my base to the other side, and I'm gonna get a choke, right? This position is a little risky, because once I'm at this point here, if my opponent still don't tap, he can easily come up and go to my side control. So I would only try this one at that point, that or maybe I'm losing and I have to get a submission, or maybe I'm winning and then there's like only 20 seconds left. I know that there's no time enough for him to get another submission or something like that. So this is like a risk position. It's not like too much my style. I like to hit better the submissions that even if I miss, I'm still there. This one, there is a risk that he can get on top. So let's see one more time. So look, I got his side control, right? I'm gonna open up my gi, control the lowest part. I'm gonna give it to the other hand. Make sure to place it very close to his neck. I'm gonna drive. Guys, normally everyone taps in the first one. Once I lift my leg and move my head to the other side, they tap. So if they don't tap, we go to the second. If they didn't tap in the second too, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna switch my base, look. And then I'm gonna get a submission. So when we work with the scarf choke, we have 3 chances to make the opponent tap. The first one, only with one hand. Second one, posting my forehead on the mat and using both hands. And then the third one, that's a little risky because I can end up on bottom. But I can still try. Guys, on this situation here, let's imagine once again I got my opponent's side control and he closed himself really well. But at this time, normally one of the first submissions I try is this one with the lapel. But this one, every time I was trying to pass the lapel here, I was not getting. And if I could even try to pass my lapel over his arm, could still work. But he was kind of like stretching his arm a little bit. My lapel was not reaching where I wanted. So that's the time that I have to try some another position. Guys, every time you get the side control, if my opponent is well closed like this, if he has his both elbows closed, it's going to be really hard for me to attack him, right? So, and the most important defense he can have is this arm closed. Because if this arm is well closed, he can easily bridge at any time, hip escape, and recover the guard. And look that he needs this arm here to recover the guard. Look, he's going to bridge, hip escape. He needs this arm, right? So just freeze right here for arm stretching on his. Look, he's going to bridge, hip escape. He needs this arm here, look. This is the arm that is going to give him the room to bring this leg, right? So first thing I'm going to try to do, I'm going to beat this arm, right? If I get to end up here, look, his arm open, my knee around him, and the control of his head, then now it's another game. If he tries to escape from side control, he's going to have a really hard time because his arm is open. So guys, to be able to open this arm, what I'm going to do is, I got his side control. I'm going to try to make as much pressure as possible on his face. So I'm going to place my hand or under his armpit or on his lapel. One of those two options. So or on his lapel or under his armpit. And now I'm going to drive all my weight over his face. So I'm going to stay a little sideways here. If you guys pay attention, I have my left leg up, my right leg stretching. Now, I'm going to control his pants and I'm going to drive all the way down towards his legs, right? If we change the angle here and you guys see how I am, you guys will see that I got away from his elbow, right? Before I was here, now I am here. Now I'm going to use my hip to open up his elbow, look. I did. Guys, now it's another game. I got the side control. He has one arm open. So let's move again. He has one arm open. Guys, once again, I'm going to play around with lapels. But now with his lapel. So I'm going to open up his gi. And pass his lapel over his arm. And I'm going to control again with my hand. Right? Once I did that, look what happened. I blocked his both arms. So I blocked this arm with his lapel and I blocked his other arm with my knee and my hip. Now I'm going to make sure to control his knee and place one knee on top of the other knee. So one leg on top of the other leg. So guys, look what happened. I blocked his both arms, I blocked his both legs. So he's completely stuck here. Now all I have to do is, I'm going to imagine I want to go to the mount. So I'm going to put all my weight over my right leg. So my left leg is free. Look, I can move my left leg as much as I want. I'm going to throw my left leg all the way over. And I'm going to end up with the triangle. Almost the triangle. So to be able to finish the triangle, I'm going to leave the lapel. And I'm going to control my shin. I did. Now I'm going to lift my right leg. And make sure to close the triangle. To be able to close this triangle, look, just move it a bit. To be able to close this triangle, I'm going to place my forehead on the mat. So now I'm just going to keep lifting my leg and adjust it. Guys, now it's a very, very bad position for him. Look how many different ways I can tap him. I can bring his elbow. I can attack an armbar here. I could attack on wrist lock here. I could hit the triangle from here, or I could just lay down and get a regular triangle as well, right? So, once again, fighting against the knees, he's all well closed, right? So, I'm going to make sure to control or his lapel or under his armpit. Now I'm going to do under his armpit, under his shoulder, sorry. I'm going to drive my shoulder over his head. Always make sure to change your base. Don't stay like this because there's no pressure on his face. Stay like this. Control his leg, drive against his hip. I did. Now make sure to come back, open his elbow. This is a very important detail. Come back, open his elbow. Now open up his gi, give to the other hand. I did. Over his forearm, always over his forearm. Now take one leg, pass over the other one. And now once again, I'm gonna throw my leg. So guys, if you guys think about this position, looks like a little risky because I'm switching from side control to triangle on the mount. But I'm only doing this, making sure that I have all this control, right? So now my left leg is able to move. I'm gonna throw it all the way over. I'm gonna switch it, control my shin, forehead on the mat, close the triangle. Now that I have my triangle closed, I have all that way step in. Look, I can easily like bring his elbow this way, this way, this way. I could even like open this triangle here and hit this one, or just lay down, cross his arm, and get a triangle from here as well. Guys, once again, I want to focus on this detail here, look. Just move, let's stay backwards to the camera. Guys, opening this elbow is one of the most important things. So look, I should always place my hand under his shoulder, control his arm, all my weight over his face, drive against his leg, and now my hip is gonna open his elbow, look. Now I beat that elbow, so now it's going to be really hard for him to escape. Try to escape from side control. He cannot. So from here, I'm going to hit the position again, look. This one is one of my favorites. Place my both hands behind his elbow and I just get a submission from here. If I need, I can lay down and get a triangle. Guys, this sounds a little bit complicated, but this is one of the submissions I use it more in my tournaments since I was blue or purple belt. So I really like this one. Guys, now let's imagine that I got a side control here, right? I just passed his guard maybe, or I got a side control, and I saw the arm of my opponent over here, look. Right? So it's kind of like a mistake. He always should try to be closer here. He always should try to be as close as possible. But guys, as we just talked before, many times when you get the side control is the time that my opponent is frustrated. Because we passed his guard. So he was giving his life to do not have his guard passing. And then we did. So we should try to take advantage of this moment. So for example, let's imagine I'm fighting against Elias and then I just got here. Look, I just passed the guard and it's up here. Guys, there is a submission here that is very good. I think probably most of the people know that I control behind his triceps, I bring him to me, then I walk around him, I place my chin on his belly and I finish with the armbar. It's one of the most basic submissions we have learned, right? I think everyone learned that probably like in the first 3 or 6 months of Jiu-Jitsu. There is a very single detail here that I learned from Marcel and I have been using a lot, and completely changed my armbar from side control that I want to work here. So look, let's imagine I passed on this guard and I got in this situation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to free his head, place my hand on the mat, right? Now I'm going to make sure to bring him to me, right? Guys, first thing, I have to make sure his back doesn't come back to the mat. So if I want, I can even make kind of like a cup grip here, look. And don't let his back come back. Look, he's going to try to bring his back back. I can even lift this leg up if I need. Guys, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to posture up a little bit and I'm going to throw my leg. So instead of like walking around him and place my shin, I'm going to get a submission from here. So look, I was a little low. I'm going to posture up a little bit and now I'm going to throw my leg on him. Once I throw my leg, all I need right now is just like lay down and get the armbar. Right? This became one of my favorite submissions on the side control. And I really like it because it's a really fast one. So look, fighting against my knees. Gonna bring him sideways, hand on the mat, throw my leg, and there I am. Both hands on his wrist, closer knee, and get a submission. So let's see again. Look, fighting against the knees. I just passed his guard, and I found him doing a mistake here, holding my head. So instead of trying to go to the mount, make pressure on his face or anything like that, I'm gonna go for a submission. So look, place my hand on the mat, bring him sideways. So this hand's gonna make like a cup grip around his shoulder or his triceps, something like that. And I'm gonna bring him to me, right? Once I did that, guys, if I try to throw my leg from here, it looks impossible, right? So I have to make sure I posture up. Once I posture up, I have all this angle here to throw my leg. Look, from here, my leg can easily come and pass. Posture your hand on the mat, just make sure you fall easy. And you have the arm bar right there. Right? So, one more time, last one. I'm on side control. He did the mistake, he hold over my shoulder. I'm gonna bring him to me. So first thing, I'm gonna not hold his head anymore. I'm gonna bring him to me. Once I did that, I'm gonna posture up and I'm gonna throw my leg over. Hand on the mat, fall, both hands on his wrist, close your knee, make sure to keep this leg heavy, lift your hip, and get a submission. Always remember, his thumb should be always pointing up. In case of he turn his hand, I'm gonna turn up again and get a submission. From here is the hardest spot that he can escape. If you start turning his thumb, then he's about to escape from the arm bar. So guys, now let's imagine I'm fighting against Hanils over here, right? And guys, let's imagine once again he forgot this arm here, right? So this is one of the mistakes that's more common in Jiu-Jitsu. But let's imagine that at this time I'm not confident, like open up this grip and bring him to me. Maybe I already tried and it was hard to put him sideways, right? Maybe he was that type of guy and when I tried to bring him up, he really forced his back to the ground and I can't put him sideways. So guys, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna control kind of like around his triceps and now in just one move, I'm gonna switch his arm and control him this way. Many times you don't even need to do that. Many times, for example, we pass someone's guard and then we go straight here. We just get his position. This position shows up a lot for us, right? So guys, let's imagine I got here. What we're gonna work here is a very basic position, but with some details that I really like. We're gonna work this sequence arm bar Kimura when you go to north-south. So look guys, let's imagine I arrive on this situation. First thing, most of us, we learn doing controlling the lapel and controlling the guy's hip. Instead of controlling the lapel, I like to control his gi. Anywhere around his gi. Can be even his belt, even better. If I get his belt here, I feel like really tight. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place my hand around his hip as we were doing the north-south choke, the scarf choke. And now I'm gonna start driving to the side control. So I'm gonna drive, drive, drive. Guys, once I got on this point over here, I have to place him sideways. So what I'm gonna do, look, he's flat on the mat. I'm gonna lift my right leg and bring him to me, right? Guys, the most important detail here, I'm always gonna keep my head low, right? I don't want him making any grip. Try to make any grip. I don't want his hand reaching or his belt or his pants. Many times we do the mistake that we get here, then when we try to attack him, he hides his arm and then it's a really hard time. So I want to keep my head here all the time. His hand is going to try to meet his pants or his belt. He cannot, look. Try to get your pants or your belt. Look, he cannot, right? So once I'm here, I'm going to make sure I put him sideways. I'm going to keep my head here. Look how my head is controlling his arm. Try to move your arm like this. It's hard for him. And now I'm going to lift this leg. Everything's super tight. Looks like I'm attacking his arm from here, look. Everything is super, super tight. I'm going to lift the other leg. And I'm going to fall with the arm bar super, super adjusted. Right? So let's see again. So look, I was here, I switched to the arm, or maybe I just fell in this position, right? I'm gonna control his belt or his gi, anything you can. I'm gonna start driving to the north-south every time using my head here to bother his arm. His hand can never reach his pants or his belt. Once I got here, I'm gonna put him sideways. Look, just bring him sideways and keep your head super tight against his arm. He's gonna try to move his arm. It's completely stuck. Guys, my right knee can always help me out here to keep him sideways. Look, my right knee is gonna kind of go like in the diagonal here, pinching his back. He's gonna try to move. He's stuck. Now, I'm gonna lift this leg up, always keeping my head against his arm. Lift the other leg and lay down. Right? So, let's work on one more. So I got side control. I got the situation. I got his belt. I got his hip. I'm gonna move. Once I got on this position, I'm gonna put him sideways. Always using my head, my elbow, and my knee. Right? So look, my knee is gonna touch or my elbow or his back here. He's gonna try to move his arm. It's completely stuck. He's gonna try to grab his pants or his belt. He cannot reach it. So now is the time that I just need to place my knee here, lift my other leg, and there I am with the arm bar super tight. Guys, on this situation right now, we're gonna keep going for the same arm bar we did in the last position. So I'm gonna approach his arm here, drive to the north-south, go to the arm bar. But at this time, I was not confident throwing the arm bar. So I'm gonna go for the kimura, right? Also again, it's a very basic position, but I really want to focus on some details here. And the main details are the same from the last position. It's all about keeping his arm stretching, using my head to make he not be able to use that arm. So look, once again, let's imagine I got here, right? So I just got on this situation. Maybe he had his arm here, and then I just switch it, right? But anyway, we end up on this position. What I'm gonna do, once again, I'm gonna control his belt, right? Got the control of his belt here. Now I'm gonna control his hip, right? As we just did before. Now I'm gonna start driving, and I'm gonna put him sideways. So when I put him sideways, also again, make sure to really bring him to you, just like this. Now, once again, that same detail. Place your knee behind his back, keep it tight. Guys, now he was really moving his arm low here. He was really trying to put his arm against his pants. Look, his arm was kind of like going away from me, right? So guys, if I lift my head a little bit, he's gonna be able to hide his arm. And then it's another game, it's hard, you know, he's gonna grab his belt. Maybe I can catch the kimura here, but maybe not, maybe my opener is strong. Maybe I can go for the arm bar. So I don't want that, I want to avoid this. So look guys, I was here and he was really trying to move his arm away from me. Really try, until he got to this point. Guys, once I felt I would lose the position, look, if I move my head a little bit, I lost it. So once I felt I would lose the position, that's the time that my hand is gonna meet his wrist, look. Now instead of let him move his arm away from me, I'm gonna get the kimura first. So I'm gonna win the race here. We had a race. Who would be able to, or he would be able to escape first, or I would be able to get the kimura. I got it. I got the kimura. I'm gonna lift this leg and I'm gonna start twisting his head as much as I can. Imagine you want to put his hand behind of his back. So that's the direction that you should follow. So I'm here, I'm gonna drive until I get it. Worst scenario, I could kind of like lay down, sit down a little bit, and go even with more angle. I like better the knees on the mat, because I feel I can switch to the arm bar or I can come back to the side control if I need. From here, maybe you can start like freaking out here and get on top or something. So, I'd like better finishing from here, right? So let's see again. So look, we were in this situation. I got his belt. I'm gonna control his hip. I'm gonna drive, until this point. Now that's the time that I have to put him sideways. To be able to put him sideways, instead of control here on his side, make sure to control his belt like a little bit under his back. Just like that. Now it's gonna be easier for us to bring him over, look. Right? Once again, close your knee against his back or against your elbow and stay here. Don't let his hand touch his pants. But at this time, he's gonna really force this move. Look, force. So guys, this secret here is above my face. Look, if I move my face up a little bit, I lost the position. So keep your face low. Look, he's gonna try to get away with his arm. He cannot. Right? Now is the time that we have the race here. Who is gonna get that faster? My head is gonna help me. So look, I keep my head here. My left hand is gonna meet his hand first. I'm gonna control his wrist, and I'm gonna lock the kimura. So guys, he has no chance here to make a grip, look. So now it's not hard for me to go for the submission. If I need, I can change my base and go even more angle. Right? One more time. Let's keep on this angle, I think it's the best angle to watch. So I'm gonna control his belt. I'm gonna drive. To be able to put him sideways easier, make sure to bring him a little bit and control underneath his back. Now, just bring him over. Close your knee behind his back, kind of like touch your elbow, look. He's gonna try to move his arm away from me, look, he's stuck. He's gonna try to move his arm. He cannot. I keep my head here, right? Also my head is here, my left hand is gonna meet. Get it? And get a submission. So guys, now once again let's imagine I got a side control, right? So I just got a side control here. I just passed his guard. So always remember this concept, like one of the best ways to tap our opponent is when right after we get a very good position, right? So for example, I got the side control, he closed himself. But many times, like because he's frustrated that I pass his guard, he's not gonna close himself like super tight, right? Maybe he's already tired because I passed his guard, this and that. So look, he closed himself here, but I felt the chance to open his arm a little bit, right? So once I felt this chance, I'm gonna open up his arm a little bit and place my forehead on the mat, right? Guys, if I got to place my forehead on the mat, it means that his arm is like very well open right now. Look how he's almost like 90 degrees here with his arms, right? So I'm gonna make sure to keep this arm here. Once I did that, my hand is gonna go palm up against his elbow. So look, he's gonna try to push his elbow down. My hand is gonna go palm up like this. And I'm gonna slide my forehead on the mat, right? So guys, look, now I open up his arm even more. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start driving to the mount. Look. I'm going to the mount, but I'm ready to go to catch him with the katagatame. So I'm going to keep working with my head. Right? When I felt that is the right time, I'm going to lift up my head a little bit and connect my both hands. Right? Now what I'm going to do is, there are some options here. I would try to go straight to the mount and work the katagatame. But many times he closed the half guard on the way here. Once he closes the half guard, I'm gonna make sure I keep the katagatame really tight. So instead of keep my hands connected, I place my hand on his shoulder and this hand goes to the mat. The katagatame is already tight, so I don't have to worry about I'm losing this because I don't have my both hands connected. One leg is gonna open up and I'm gonna go straight to knee on bed in the other side. Right? Once I got the knee on bed in the other side, that's exactly the spot I want to use to tap him. So once again, I lift up a little bit, connect my both hands. The choking hand is palm down, the other hand is palm up. I'm going to stretch my left leg down, and I'm going to keep one weird knee on belly here. It's not like really knee on belly, it's kind of like leg on belly. I'm going to keep it as much tight as possible. I'm going to drive forward a little bit. Look how I'm driving forward. and I'm gonna squeeze, and I'm gonna get it choked. This is my favorite way to reach the katagatame. I see many people doing like this, right? Other people doing like a kind of like a rear neck choke. I don't like it. The way I like better is finishing from here. Look, I have kind of like a knee on belly. I connect my both hands. I stretch my leg and I catch him from here. I'm kind of like laying down in same line as him. And now I get a submission from there. So let's see again. I'm gonna start from side control. Once again, imagine, I just passing his guard. He's closed, but he's not like really tight closed. When he's like very, very well closed, I try to open his elbow here and I can't. Look, his elbow is really tight and I'm not able to open. At this time, I push his elbow and my hand got to go to the mat. So once I got here, palm down against his elbow, push his elbow a little high and slide my head. Now, hand on the mat, knee on belly, slide, slide, slide. In case of he close the half guard, just make sure you place your hand on the mat, place a hook, free the hook, and knee on belly. Again with the other leg. I did. Now, connect your both hands, so lift up a little bit, connect your both hands, stretch your left leg, drive forward, and push. So, let's see one more. So I'm gonna start on the side control, right? I'm gonna open up his elbow here. Once I open, head on the mat. Now, my hand go palm up against his elbow and I'm gonna push it up and drive my head forward. Just slide your forehead on the mat, right? Now, hand on the mat, knee on belly, slide, slide, slide. Guys, if I get to go straight to the mount, it's even better. Now I don't have to deal with the half guard. Now with my other leg, I'm just gonna switch here. Look, make sure to switch, kind of like change your base. Look, so just one motion here. I switch. Now lift it up a little bit. Connect your both hands. Now stretch your left leg, drive a little forward, and push. And the katagatame is just there. This position works a lot for no gi as well, because I don't need lapel, I don't need gi, I don't need anything like that.